Hello, Vim Shah here, your fellow Lambda student. As I was thinking about what to talk about for this, I thought about some of the experience I've had working in different teams. Teams from small startups to teams in large Fortune 100 companies. I've seen many times over again the occurrence of communication breakdown. At times, it seemed obvious or natural on why this was occurring, and at times it was not. I hope this video will help shed light on the finer details of communication and how to make teams more effective. Today, we'll talk about 4 ways to respond to a statement or an idea that's being communicated. Foundation of any communication between two people usually starts with an initiator, someone who's looking to express an idea, a thought, or a feeling. And on the other end of that is the responder, someone who is listening to that thought or feeling and looking to respond in a way or react to that initiation. In this model, we're going to be looking at 4 ways to respond. The first one is active, where the responder is involved with that initiating idea or feeling. The next way is passive, where the responder is not involved with the idea or the feeling. Next, constructive, where the responder is building on top of the idea and the feeling that's being expressed by the initiator. And lastly, destructive, where the responder is not building on the idea or the feeling. Let's take a look at that in practice.
This video will demonstrate the 4 different ways people generally respond: passive constructive, passive destructive, active destructive, and finally, active constructive. As you watch the scenarios, see if you can guess which type of response Alice uses with Mike.
Hey, Alice.
Hey.
You remember that promotion I was hoping to get?
Yeah, sure.
I got the call and they gave it to me.
That is so great.
Yeah, it starts next week, new office and everything.
Very cool, Mike.
All right, well, I'll talk to you later, I guess.
Yeah.
Which type of communication did you see? Passive constructive is the correct answer. Alice's response was very understated and did nothing to show authentic interest in Mike's good news. Mike left the conversation feeling unimportant, perhaps even embarrassed for sharing his news in the first place. Passive constructive responding is the most destructive to relationships. Let's take a look at another way Alice could respond.
Hey, Alice.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
I'm feeling great. You'll never guess what just happened to me.
What's that?
I got the promotion I was hoping to get.
Oh my God, that's fabulous. Oh, well, that reminds me, I just closed on the house I was buying.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
I know, I can't wait. I even have new furniture picked out and everything.
All right, well, that's great. Great. Get it going?
All right, I'll see you later.
Which type of communication did you see this time? Alice used a passive destructive response here. By shifting the focus of the conversation to her, Mike's good news gets pushed to the side. The conversation is never started, and Mike leaves feeling confused, perhaps even disappointed. Let's see a third possibility.
Hey, Alice.
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
I'm feeling great. You'll never guess what just happened to me.
What's that?
You remember that promotion I was hoping to get?
Yeah.
I got the call and I got it.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Yes. I'm so ready for this.
Are you sure about that? I mean, This is going to be a really big change and a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, but it's nothing I can't handle.
You do understand this means you will have all the crap put onto you from corporate.
Yeah, it comes with the territory. Besides, I got the new office, big raise. I think it's worth it.
Big raise? So what? I mean, you're going to be working 15-hour days and weekends.
Well,
Have you talked to Kathy? Is she okay with you being gone so much?
I hadn't thought of that. I'm sure she'll be fine.
Will it be fine when you're leaving every other week for a business trip?
Yeah, I hadn't considered that either. I need to rethink this.
Yeah, you should do that.
Which type of communication was that? This is active destructive communication. While Alice is engaged in the conversation, she is focusing on the negative details and squashing Mike's news. By the end of the conversation, Mike leaves feeling embarrassed and perhaps guilty for thinking the news was as good as he thought. Let's go back one more time and see how this could turn out.
Hey, Alice.
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
I am feeling great. You'll never guess what just happened to me.
What's that?
I got that promotion I was hoping for.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So when do you start?
First thing Monday. Yeah, I got some things to tie up around here, but it's official.
Very cool. So you get a new office and everything.
Yeah, I'm moving up to the 3rd floor. Getting out of this cubicle maze finally.
Ooh, aren't you the lucky one? Well, have you told Kathy yet?
Yeah, she's super excited. She wants to come and decorate my office.
You should let her. I know she has a great eye for that sort of thing. Are you guys going to celebrate?
Of course. I'm going to take her out to Casa Bella.
Ooh,
Gonna make a night of it.
very fancy. Well, I know she will just love it. Oh, and you should let her know good colors for the office.
I don't know that.
This, of course, is active constructive communication. Alice showed authentic interest in Mike's news by elaborating on the experience. Mike feels validated and understood as the conversation progresses. Active constructive responding is the only one of the 4 that leads to stronger relationships.
That was us just reviewing a model for responding, four different methods of responding in a situation. Now we'll break out into an exercise to try to see if we can replicate some of those responses. Shouldn't take more than 5 or 7 minutes to get through this. We'd like the PMs to break out their rooms into groups of 2 for breakout rooms. And each person can start off by choosing to be an initiator or a responder. We'll swap at the end, so everyone will get a chance to play both roles. And we'd like to invite the initiator to share something they're excited about to the responder, in case you're out of ideas. We have a few here. Maybe you've just bought a house. Maybe you've recently had a baby. Maybe you've moved to a new place. Maybe you just got married. Maybe you just started a business. Maybe you got into a school or going to school. Maybe you just got a new job after Lambda. The initiator would try one of those, and the responder at that time, we're inviting the responder to respond in one of 3 ways, professionally, of course. Either passive constructive, passive destructive, or active destructive. And just as a reminder, those were the first 3 that we saw in the video. The initiator is invited to share how the response made them feel. The responder is then invited to respond in a more actively constructive manner. That was the last one we saw in the video. And finally, the initiator can again share how this response made them feel. At the end, we would hear swap roles, and the initiator would become the responder, and the responder would become the initiator. In closing, as a stretch, can you come up with one situation in which active constructive is not the best response? Are there situations in which the other ones are valid? Maybe some of you are thinking that. If so, feel free to DM me. I love talking about this. Lastly, the PMs are invited to prompt the group to share anything that was discovered during the breakout session. This is purely voluntary. If you have something to share, feel free to do so. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time and participating.